unpopular opinion here. I think that software engineers in the next few years are absolutely cooked. With how fast AI is moving, and not just AI, but AI coding is moving, you just don't need as many software engineers as you used to. I've been a software engineer since 2007, and here's one thing that I learned about software engineer, or I saw with my own two eyes, is I got into software engineer. I got my first computer in the 1990s. I've always been around computers. I built my own computers. I'm just a tech guy, right? So it makes sense for me that that's a natural path to progression. But a lot of people got into software engineering not because they love to build software or love to solve problems, but they got into it for the money. And to be honest, just because you're a high paid software engineer doesn't mean that you're a good one. I've seen high paid software engineers write the most sloppy, terrible, unorganized code that you have ever seen. And when you compare that to AI, people talk about how AI writes sloppy code and it's just not good and so on and so forth. I've seen both sides of the coin. AI can sometimes mess up, and then also people can mess up and have just terrible code on their own just because of how they learned and wherever they learn. But here's the thing that you need to know is AI is faster than you are. You have one finite brain. AI has the world of information at its disposal to get better, and it gets better each and every day. You, as a person, as a software engineer or developer, you can only get incrementally better each day, right? In small chunks. But you can literally wake up a week from now and AI could have gotten 500 times better or 100 times better or 50 times better. The output just doesn't match the human. And so eventually what we're going to have is just full-fledged automation to where the software engineer is no longer necessarily building things, but they're managing things. And that's something that has already started to happen. That started to happen maybe 10, 15 years ago, where people were building software and you used to have to just do everything from scratch, right? Then you started using components and reusable things. And what happened is the software, and that's the key term, engineer, the software engineer started to just put together the pieces to make the software run, right? Instead of being responsible for the entire build or the entire process of building software, he started to be the one that had to manage the software. And now that's what we're getting into even more in these days, is that we don't need you to write the code. There's so much code available for AI to use, and it's still not perfect. But there's so much code, so many code examples for it to be able to use to eventually get it right. To where in the next few years, software engineers, you guys are going to have to go do something else. It just is what it is. And this is me being a software engineer. My wife is also a software engineer, so I'm not just talking out of the side of my neck making stuff up. But I know that software engineers are scared. I know that software engineers are worried because what happens when overnight, all of a sudden, boom, you're just at your cushy job, job security, and then next thing you know, boom,